They say land doesn't really belong to you, that you're just borrowing it from time. But I never bought into that. Not the day I signed the deed, and definitely not the day I first stepped foot onto the little patch of earth I now call home. It wasn't the house that drew me in, just a modest place nestled behind a thicket of pines. It was the lake, that still, crescent-shaped body of water tucked behind the lot like a secret waiting to be rediscovered. It wasn't even mentioned in the listing, but when I saw it, I knew it wasn't just part of the property, it was the property. I'm Russell McKay, retired environmental engineer, widower, amateur bird watcher, and, as I've recently been labeled, a neighborhood troublemaker. But back then, I was just a guy looking for peace. See, 5 years ago, I lost my wife Emily to ovarian cancer. After that, I wasn't much for noise. Not from the world, and definitely not from people. The lake gave me something I didn't know I needed. A silence that didn't feel empty. A place where frogs croaked at dusk, dragonflies danced like they were choreographed, and the breeze carried secrets instead of small talk. I built a duck with my own hands, scattered Emily's ashes beneath a willow on the far side. Every morning, I'd walk out with my coffee and just breathe. The neighborhood's called Silver Pines Ridge. Sounds fancier than it is. It's a mid-size HOA community, lawns trimmed within an inch of their lives, flags on every porch, fences all painted the same soul-draining shade of beige. But my lot, Lot 7, backed right up to the lake. Only 4 others did. The rest had to enjoy it from a distance. That, I later realized, was the problem. At first it was minor stuff. I got a letter about my native wildflowers looking unkempt, another about my compost bin being unsightly. I figured it was just the HOA being the HOA. I didn't love it, but I didn't fight it either. But then things changed. It started subtle. A strange film on the lake. Yellow-gray, oily but not quite. The smell was faint, sour like wet drywall. I dipped a mason jar below the surface. Years of training kicked in. I didn't panic, but I knew something foreign had entered the water. Next day, I took a walk around the shoreline. 3 lots over, I saw fresh tire tracks. Not car tires, equipment tires. Heavy treads. I remembered a flyer from the HOA, some beautification project at the community entrance, decorative stone path, a gazebo, that sort of thing. The usual HOA flair. That evening, a broken tile floated past my dock, slate gray, still sharp at the edge. That wasn't runoff. That was dumping. So I stayed up, turned off the lights, sat by the window with coffee in hand. At 2:18 a.m., like clockwork, I saw them. 2 flatbeds, with their lights off, backed into the clearing just beyond the HOA greenbelt. No logos, just men in reflective vests tossing rubble into the ravine. Concrete, rebar, chunks of drywall, right into the feeder stream for the lake. I didn't call the police. I grabbed my camera. I documented everything. Next morning, I marched down to the HOA office, still muddy boots and all, walked straight into Karen Rusk's, the president. She had the kind of smile that's been laminated. I laid the photos, the GPS-tagged videos, the EPA printouts on her desk. She blinked once. "Mr. McKay, are you accusing the HOA of criminal dumping?" I didn't answer. Didn't have to. She leaned forward, If you continue to spread unsubstantiated allegations, we will pursue legal action." I left without saying a word, but something in me shifted. That lake, the one that held my wife's ashes, was dying, and they didn't care. Or worse, they knew and just didn't think I'd do anything about it.